Herzlich willkommen bei whisky.de, dem Treffpunkt feiner Geister. Und ich bin mal wieder in den schottischen Highlands. Ja, nicht in den Islands, sondern auf den Highlands, in den West Highlands, an der Küste auf der Halbinsel Morven. Und zwar bei der Brennerei Neckneen. Morven ist eine sehr dünn besiedelte Halbinsel, die zweitdünn besiedelste Gegend in Schottland. Und ja, das soll schon was heißen. Also hier sind wirklich sehr wenig Leute. Ja, Neckneen ist ein sehr interessanter Name. Es ist der Name, eine Abkürzung der schottischen oder gälischen, einer gälischen Göttin. Und zwar hieß die Nish Neohain. Und sie ist ja die Beschützerin der Natur und außerdem die Königin der Geister. Ja, trifft ganz gut. Königin der Geister. Hier wird auch ein Geist gebrannt, ein Whisky-Geist. Ja, sehr schön gemacht. Und ja, die Brennerei wurde, die Idee der Brennerei wurde 2012 gegründet von Annabelle und ihren Eltern, denen diese Farm hier gehört. Die haben sich gedacht, hey, wir könnten eine Malzbrennerei, also eine Malt Distillery hier auf diesem Anwesen bauen. Und ja, sie hatte damals noch einen Job in London und den hat sie dann aufgegeben und hat gesagt, okay, ich widme mich diesem Projekt. Und 2013 hat das Ganze angefangen und hat 4 Jahre gebraucht. Und 2017 ist die Brennerei dann fertig gewesen und hat dann angefangen, Whisky oder Rohbrand zu produzieren. 2020 ist dann auch der erste Whisky rausgekommen. Und ja, jetzt 2022 sind wir hier und schauen uns die ganze Geschichte mal an, was hier auf dem Gelände für Whisky gemacht wird und vor allem wie. Zu meiner Rechten seht ihr einen kleinen Kühlwassersee, der verwendet wird, um den Alkoholdämpfe zu kondensieren und die Brennerei zu kühlen. Zu meiner Linken seht ihr dann die Isle of Mull. Früher gab es hier einen Vulkan, also das war hier so eine vulkanische Gegend. Und deswegen haben wir auch wirklich hier viel Vulkangestein, Basalt als Vulkangestein. Und der ist wirklich toll, dass er das Wasser richtig schön filtert. Also hier in der Gegend gibt es viel Wasser und es gibt sehr gutes Wasser. Und die Brennerei hat eine eigene Wasserquelle auf ihrem Land und die verwenden sie dann auch, um das Wasser, dieses Wasser verwenden sie, um den Whisky zu machen. Neben dem Wasser ist natürlich die zweitwichtigste Zutat das Malz. Und wie ich gesagt habe, es ist eine Bio oder Organic, wie die Schotten sagen, Distillerie. Also haben sie auch nur Bio-Organic Gerste. Und was Schönes ist, sie haben auch noch 100% Gerste aus Schottland, aus der Aberdeen-Region und aus Fife. Das sind 2 Regionen in Schottland, wo Gerste angebaut wird. Die wird dann in Inverness gemälzt und wird dann hierher transportiert. Und die haben dann so 1 Tonnensäcke und die werden dann geschrotet und hier in der Mash-Tun eingemeischt. Es werden 3 Maischvorgänge, wobei der letzte wird recycelt, weil da nicht genügend Zucker und Stärke drin ist. Und die natürlichen Enzyme in dieser Biogerste spalten dann die Stärke in Zucker auf und man bekommt am Ende Maische mit 5000 Litern, die dann weitergeht in die Fermentation. Hier haben wir die Fermentationstanks, die Washbags. Sie sind aus rostfreiem Stahl. Es gibt 4 von ihnen, haben eine Kapazität von 7000 Litern, werden aber bis 5000 Litern befüllt. Und sie haben sie arbeiten 5 Tage die Woche und sie haben einen gewissen Rhythmus. Es gibt kurze und lange Fermentationsdauern, wobei ich sagen würde, es gibt lange und sehr lange Fermentationsdauern. Denn die kurze Fermentationsdauer sind 65 Stunden, das ist schon sehr lang. Und die langen sind dann 120, was die längsten in der Branche sind. Das ist wichtig, denn hier werden Geschmäcker erschaffen. Und desto länger die Fermentationsdauer ist, desto mehr hat man auch eine laktobakterielle Fermentation. Und die erschaffen richtig schöne Ester mit richtig fruchtigen Noten. Das, was die Brennerei haben will. Sie wollen einen leichten und fruchtigen Whisky und deswegen gehen sie hin und fermentieren sehr lang, um sehr fruchtige Aromen zu bekommen. Gut, was gibt es noch zu sagen? Sie verwenden 2 verschiedene Hefen, einmal Distillers und einmal Brewers Hefe, und die sind dann auch noch wichtig, weil verschiedene Hefen arbeiten in verschiedenen Arten und Weisen, wachsen verschieden und geben auch verschiedene Geschmäcker ab. Und das ist die Hefe, die sie herausgefunden haben, was ihnen den richtigen Geschmack gibt. Und ja, nachdem es hier fertig ist, geht es weiter in die Destillation. Jetzt bin ich wieder im Zentrum der Brennerei, dem Brennhaus, obwohl es ja irgendwie so ein fließender Übergang ist zwischen den Washbacks und den Stills. Hinter mir ist die große Washstill, sie wird mit 5000 Litern befüllt und im Hintergrund sieht man auch die Spirit Still, die wird mit 3500 Litern befüllt. Sie haben so eine Lampenform, sagt man hier, mit einer Einschnürung. Die Einschnürung in der Spirit Still ist extrem wichtig, weil sie uns Wirbel gibt, sogenannten Reflux. Der erhöht den Kontakt mit der Brennblase, mehr Kupferkontakt, gibt einen weicheren Spirit und es gibt mehr Separation des Alkohols, teilt sich besser auf, es gibt einen feineren Brand. Also wird es ein relativ leichter Whisky mit den schönen Geschmäckern aus der Fermentation, wird es ein leichter und fruchtiger Whisky. Das ist genau das, was man hier bei der Brennerei haben will. Worauf man auch achtet, ist zum Beispiel sehr viel auf die Umwelt. Wir haben hier unsere Kondensatoren, die müssen gekühlt werden. Und hier hat man einen geschlossenen Kreislauf mit ihrem Kühlwasserteich. Und da wird kein Wasser verloren und kein Wasser aufgenommen. Also spart man sich 70.000 Liter Wasser pro Tag, was dann 90% des Wasserverbrauchs ist. Und das ist ja schon eine ganze Menge und es ist echt schön, dass man darauf achtet, dass man eben hier nicht eine ineffiziente Brennerei macht, sondern eine sehr ökologische und sehr nachhaltige Brennerei. Wir gehen jetzt noch mal ein bisschen hinter zum Spirit Safe und da schauen wir uns mal an, wie das Ganze gemacht wird und was mit dem New Make Spirit noch passiert. Was noch bedeutend hier ist bei der Brennerei, ist nicht der Whisky, sondern ihr Botanical Spirit. Den habe ich ja auch schon mal probiert und ich wusste noch nicht ganz, was dahinter steckt und jetzt habe ich es mir erklären lassen. Sehr interessant, warum ist dieser Botanical Spirit kein Gin? Es ist nämlich definitiv Wacholder drin. Er schmeckt auch nach Wacholder. Das ist eigentlich normalerweise die Hürde, die jede Brennerei hat, um es Gin nennen zu dürfen. Was Maclean für ein Problem damit hat, ist, dass sie es nicht Gin nennen dürfen, ist, dass sie ihren New Make dafür verwenden wollen. Weil sie sagen, der schmeckt so gut, wir wollen daraus im Grunde unser Produkt machen, was dann aber nicht Gin ist, weil es nicht neutral genug ist. Für Gin muss man sehr, sehr hoch destillierten, neutralen Alkohol verwenden. Und ja, der Whisky ist schon hoch destilliert, aber nicht irgendwo im 90% Bereich. Deswegen dürfen sie ihn nicht Gin nennen. Es ist aber eigentlich, ein Gin, nur er hat zu viel Geschmack vom Maclean New Make. Wie wird der hergestellt? Wir nehmen einfach unseren Spirit, so wie er hier gerade durchläuft. Und er wird gesammelt im Spirit Tank und wird dann zu einer sogar anderen Brennerei transportiert in der Nähe von Campbelltown. Die nehmen sich dann alle Botanicals nach dem Rezept, was Maclean festgelegt hat, und wird dann in einer dritten Destillationsphase in einem Aromakorb destilliert und daraus entsteht dann dieser Botanical Spirit mit den ganzen Botanicals drin, die dann eben sehr stark nach Gin schmecken, aber offiziell kein Gin ist, weil sie zu sehr auf die Qualität ihrer Produkte achten. Dann lasst uns mal ein bisschen über die Lagerung des Whiskys sprechen. Die Fässer werden unten in der Brennerei befüllt und dann mit einem Traktor hier hochgefahren und in diesen Dunnage Warehouses gelagert. Es gibt mittlerweile schon 3 Lagerhäuser. Eins ist gerade fertiggestellt worden. Das ist ungefähr doppelt so groß wie hier. Aber es sind alles diese traditionellen Dunnage Warehouses mit gestampften Lehmboden und nur 3 Fässern hoch. Wobei, mit Sherryfässern machen sie dann hin und wieder auch nur 2 hoch. Und die traditionelle Art und Weise, wie man schottischen Whisky lagert. Zum Klima, es ist die westlichste Brennerei auf dem schottischen Festland. Und es ist ja eine Coastal Region, also eine Küstenregion, sehr, sehr feucht, sehr, sehr viel Regen und auch die Temperaturunterschiede zwischen Sommer und Winter sind nicht so hoch. Also 5 Grad im Winter ist so das Minimum und 25 Grad im Sommer ist so meistens das Maximum. Sehr gut, um den Whisky schön reifen zu lassen. Dann lass uns mal ein bisschen über die Fässer reden. Ich habe hier zum Beispiel neben mir das Fass Nummer 1, das erste Fass, was abgefüllt wurde. Und daneben ist dann hier noch das 2, 3, 4 und dann geht es weiter mit 5. Also die alten Fässer haben sie ganz vorne hingelegt und schön nummeriert. Es ist ein Bourbon-Fass, eigentlich Tennessee-Fass, aber ja, die Schotten nennen es alle Bourbon. Und ja, sie haben eine ganze Menge Bourbon-Fässer. Dann haben sie noch sehr, sehr viele Weinfässer, also sie sagen ungefähr 50% Weinfässer, 50% Bourbonfässer. Das sind dann diese STR, also Shaved Toasted Recharred, also diese wieder aufgearbeiteten Weinfässer, haben aber noch ein gutes Weinaroma drin. Es gibt auch noch eine ganze Menge Sherryfässer, so Oloroso-Fässer und hier und da noch ein paar andere Sherrys und auch noch ein paar experimentelle Fässer. Es gibt ein Rumfass, Tequila-Fass und nochmal Bordeaux-Fässer, also mit insgesamt schönen anderen Geschmäckern. Also wird wirklich interessant. Zur Größe mal zu sagen, 600, 700 Fässer werden so jährlich abgefüllt. Und die meisten von ihnen gehen jetzt in den normalen, den wir draußen kennen. Aber es wird auch noch ein bisschen gewartet, weil sie irgendwann auch noch mal einen 10-jährigen rausbringen. Aber das wird noch eine ganze Weile dauern. Ja, genug geredet. Nachdem sie hier fertig abgefüllt sind, können wir dann mal probieren, wie der Whisky so schmeckt.
So, das war's mit der Produktion und jetzt gibt es noch ein kleines Interview. I'm sitting here with Annabelle Thomas. You're the CEO and founder of the distillery. So, yeah, thank you very much for having us here.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, well, lovely place and lovely weather even.
Well, mostly.
Yeah, that's the Scottish weather. You just wait 10 minutes and it's different. Okay, so very nice. You're a young distillery and we already have 4 bottles in front of us. Cool. So what are we having today?
Well, we're going to start with the Neon Organic, which is our kind of classic recipe. This we released 2 years ago, and it is a combination of 3 cask types, STR, bourbon in roughly equal quantities, and just a little smattering of sherry. So shall we dig in?
Sure.
It's light and fruity, and that's what we were always going for. I wanted to create something that was deliciously drinkable. And in my view, that starts with the new make spirit, so that's what we try to do, is create a light and fruity.
Yeah, we've seen that with the form of the stills and fermentation time and everything. That's really nice. One question for that bottling: how different are the batches, would you say?
Well, we have just moved to a new batch code, and the difference between the previous batches, which were numeric, and the new batches, which have a 4-letter number code, is different. The recipe is different. We've changed the cask mix. But aside from that change, the batches should now be consistent.
So
to the extent you can.
So what we have is right now, I think we have the 15 and the 17, and the BU08 is after 15, 17. I thought this one.
Exactly. This is the breaking news.
Okay, I didn't have the BU06 yet.
Exactly. So this is a new one. So that we're a young distillery, as you said, and our casks constantly evolve. The sherry casks that we have are 500-litre sherry butts, and so obviously they mature a lot more slowly than our other casks. So they weren't ready to be incorporated when we first started production, and they now are. The bourbons have also moved on, so it's just a subtle evolution of the recipe. So a bit more bourbon, a bit less STR, and the addition of a little bit of sherry.
Okay, nice. Ooh. Oh, yeah, fresh, fruity, but also from my point of view, a little bit floral. But different to what I had remembered the old one, the back one. But the thing is, if you have a whiskey at a distillery, it just tastes different.
It always tastes better, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Something about being at the distillery. But it is, I mean, it is different, but I think I would describe it as an evolution, not a revolution. So it's still got the main characteristics that we were going for. It's just, the next step on the journey.
Yeah, lovely. And for such a young whiskey, it's pretty mature, I would say.
Well, those 3 cask types all bring different elements to the party, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always nice to have more casks. They just have the complexity in there.
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
That's just cool. I like it. Very round. Oh, but now here comes the intensity. Oh, it's building up. I like it. It has a lot of fruit in it.
It does, and a lot of mouthfeel. It's a bit of a technical term, but like the oiliness.
Oiliness, yeah.
We think comes from the organic barley. Because there's so much more in every grain of organic barley. It gives that kind of texture, if you like, to whiskey.
Oh, I like it. Nice. How much ABV does it have?
46.
46.
So
Yeah, just
non-chill filtered, natural colour. 46.
I like it that you use STR casks. You can really feel that there's a bit more depth to it. There's a bit more of a grape notes, a bit more darker notes in there.
Exactly. I think it balances out the lightness of the spirit and some of the floral fruity notes. It brings kind of spice and a bit of grip.
Yeah, nice. So use of organic barley, and I've hinted a little bit about the environmentalism and renewability. Can you give us a little bit of a recap, because I totally did not cover everything of that. So how did you come up with the idea, and why environmentalism?
So I guess I wanted to create a distillery with a focus on sustainability, because I felt like that was missing a little bit in the industry. The industry has this amazing tradition, which I think is really important, but I think it's also important that there are maybe new distilleries in the industry that are a bit more forward-looking and think about what's coming next. And I think a big part of that for younger consumers is sustainability, and it was for me. And when I started thinking about setting it up in 2012, nobody in the industry was really talking about sustainability.
Very few.
Very few. Very few. So, and of course, when you're starting a distillery from scratch, you have the luxury of being able to define how you're going to do everything at the beginning, which is of course enormously helpful. And that's what we did. So I tried to pick off initially the big issues that we need to fix up front, which is energy, water, waste, and barley. So we made the right decisions, I hope, back then on those big elements, and then everything else has been a kind of evolution as we go. For example, packaging. We haven't decided what that was going to be back in 2015, but you know, you figure out when we get there.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So you have a biomass plant on site. How does that work?
Well, initially with difficulty. It's not the simplest way to power a distillery. But we decided to do that because we have a commercial forest right here. It's literally a mile down the road. And I think with sustainability, it's always about getting the right answer for where the company is. There's no point putting a biomass boiler if there's no trees, but we have this on site, and as you discovered coming here, we're a long way from everything else. So we've got to use what we have here.
Yeah, true.
So we harvest wood, it dries in the forest for a year, we chip it ourselves. Our distillers are also wood chippers. They bring it down from the forest, they tip it in, and the biomass boiler heats our stills. And in fact, the room we're sitting in, so the radiators are powered by waste heat from the boiler as well.
Okay, so it's kind of biomass as in trees and
Exactly.
Yeah, there are a lot of trees around here.
There are a lot of trees around here. We don't cut down the native ones, it's just the kind of conifers that are grown to be harvested.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, that is very nice. I think maybe you were part of it. I think the environmental part in the business is kicking off. You were probably in the lead there. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of luck and a little bit of foresight goes a long way.
Okay, so the next one is one of your Quiet Rebels.
Exactly.
So Quiet Rebels is kind of the homage to your employees here.
Correct. So we release this every autumn, and they're all named after one of our team in the order that the team joined the company.
Ah, okay.
So Lorna was our first ever employee. She joined just before we started, or as we started building the distillery. So she, in an absolutely heroic way, helped cater for all the builders that actually built the distillery, and now she's one of our distillers.
Okay.
So she has a very sweet tooth, and the idea of Quiet Rebels is that the whiskies are designed around the tastes of that person.
Ah, okay,
So Matt, who's our blender, sits down with them, tastes lots of different whiskies, and tries to get to the heart of what they like in whiskey, and then create something as close to that as we can from the stock in our warehouse.
Yeah, employees around here is a big topic as well, because it's pretty hard probably to get the people, isn't it?
It is and it isn't. I think it's hard to house them. It's actually, one of the biggest issues. We do, it is such a beautiful part of the country, and whilst the winters are not great, the summer is amazing. And actually, post-COVID, I think people have really got the idea of being out of cities and things.
Oh,
so, yeah, I mean, it's not like recruiting in London, but it's different.
Yes, the thing is, you have to like nature if you want to be around
Exactly.
here, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So this is a mixture of ex-bourbon and ex-Pinot de Charente casks.
Pinot de Charente.
It's a French sweet wine.
Sweet wine, okay.
Yeah. So
Sweet wine as in strong wine or fortified?
It is fortified.
It
yes.
is fortified
Yeah.
wine, okay. So this French answer to sherry then?
Something like that.
Yeah, it feels very sweet.
Yeah, it's got a lovely sweet nose, I think.
And a nice bourbon character touch to it.
Yeah.
That just comes up very nicely at the beginning.
So even the Pinot de Charente were in bourbon for the first few years of their life. It's a Pinot de Charente finish thing.
But I think I also get a little bit of the distillery character, the freshness.
Well, I think in some ways the freshness comes through more when you're using bourbon casks because there's less overwhelming.
I would have even said a little bit differently. It comes on a little bit lighter at the beginning, and then it kicks in a little bit of a spiciness. Something, yeah. Is it European oak then? Because it has a bit of a touch to that. Not much, but
Well, the Pinot de Charente probably is, but actually most of it is American oak. I mean, as in most of it's bourbon. I can't remember the exact cask proportions, but it's probably 3 Pinot de Charente and 10 bourbon or something. But
yeah, it gives a nice touch to it.
yeah, it gives it some body, I think.
So there has been a bit of a discussion about the name, and the name is Nagneen, or how do you say Nagneen?
Yeah, Nagneen.
Nagneen, and the full name is then Nishnahain.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
And I do like the story. So how did you come up with this story? Did you read it in a book, or was it a child's tale for you?
No, it was. We researched kind of ancient Gallic goddesses and found Nishnahain amongst the archives, as it were. We wanted something. I didn't want to do the traditional thing and call the distillery the name of the place because that's what everybody else does. So we wanted something that represented more like our philosophy than just the place we were in.
Okay.
And we found Nishnahain, and she's described as this protector of nature and as a goddess who was kind of famous for walking her own path. She'd like go and live in the woods on her own and didn't really care what anyone else thought. And we thought, well, that perfectly sums up who we are, so we'll use that. But obviously, Nishnahain is a rather long, complicated word, so we had to condense it down a bit.
Is Nishnahain, is that like the official acronym for Nagneen, the official acronym for Nishnahain, or is that for
we
you?
made it up. We made it up. So we just looked at Nishnahain and thought we can't possibly. I thought I can't type that 30 times a day.
Yeah, it is quite difficult.
It's hard to say, and it's 13 letters long. Anyway, so no, we took inspiration from that and called ourselves Nagneen.
Okay, yeah, I like it. I like it. It's really nice, and yeah, it captures what you are representing very good.
Exactly. That was the aim.
Ah, nice. So the next one is then the Huntress.
Yes. So this is our spring seasonal release, and we're trying Huntress 2022 today, so from this year. This is more about the experimental side of our distillery. So as well as sustainability, we really like playing around with different flavour profiles and in particular different yeasts. So for our normal whiskey we always use 2 yeasts anyway in the distilling, but for 4 to 6 weeks a year we run these yeast trials where we think about creating different flavours in the spirit just by changing the yeast. And this is the first one that we've released. And it was made using, alongside our 2 normal yeasts, we added in some rum yeast.
Rum yeast?
And it's just really, so this is, the cask proportions are exactly the same as the organic, and so it's just interesting to try the 2 side by side.
But rum yeast, as in, how did you get? I've heard about the rum, the pits and yeasts living there. And
okay, it's true. So a lot of rum distilleries use natural yeast.
Yes.
You know, it's in the tanks or the air already. But there are yeasts out there that were designed for rum production that are not the kind of naturally occurring ones. Doubtless they originated from the naturally occurring ones, but they're now produced.
But you didn't go in one of these pits?
No, that would have been fun. That would be a great trip, work trip, but we didn't, no.
I would like to do that one time, but maybe get some protective gear.
Exactly. No, it wasn't that exciting.
Okay, so it's a rum yeast that...
It's a rum yeast that we added, and I just think my perspective coming into the industry with not very much background in whiskey was, you know, I drink a lot of beer and brewers love yeast because that's what creates flavour. Not the only thing, but it's an important component of it. And ultimately, whiskey is distilled beer, and I couldn't understand why so few people in the industry cared about what yeast was being used. So we've been running these experiments, and Huntress is our chance to show them off to the world, even if it's a bit geeky.
Yeah, the thing with you and other distilleries is probably that you don't have a very old tradition that you are about to destroy, so you have more possibilities. That's a bit of a upside there.
I agree, definitely. It's a big bonus that we can be a bit more, have a bit more freedom. So the spirit that this was made from had lots of those tropical fruit notes. I think in maturation it has got a little bit, those tropical notes have softened a little bit, and you get also some lovely sort of minerality. Let's see what you think.
Oh yeah, now that I heat it a little bit up, now it comes. I think it's lovely. It smells quite round and smooth, with a bit of a bourbon character to it, and yeah, freshness from and fruitiness from the distillery. And yeah, I think this one is, even with the tropical fruitiness, I would say the most one. The other ones had some, but this one has a bit more. This one is really smooth. Is it also 46?
Basically, these are 48.5.
48.5? Really? Probably less. It's pretty smooth and bit oily. Not that much, but it's freshness also, and what's it, like mango taste or something. Maybe the smoothness reminds me of mango. Okay, so we talked a bit about tradition, and I've actually done my thesis about a business plan, how to do a distillery. You've actually done it. So how's the experience of doing it, creating a distillery?
Well, long, expensive, stressful and fun, I think would be a good way to summarise it. So I used to be a consultant, and as a consultant I wrote plans, and other people had to make those plans happen. For me, writing a distillery business plan and then having to do it myself was quite a different experience. I think the hardest part of the whole thing was raising money, because you never know at that point if you're going to make it. You just, until you've got the cash, you can't get started. You feel like you could be wasting your time. Building the distillery was not fun either. Building projects never are, especially when they're complicated and in this remote location.
Yes, definitely.
But since we've been making spirit, even before we had whiskey, it's amazing to actually see the product that you've dreamed of come come really to life. And now, obviously, to have it in a bottle is pretty amazing. So, definitely a roller coaster.
Yeah, for me it would probably be a bit different because I really don't like the side of the finance and stuff. That's really not my thing. I've done an MBA, but it's really not my thing. I'm actually an engineer, so the whole building would have been probably pretty fun for me.
Exactly, yeah. Whereas I was like, no, can't wait to get this over and done with.
Yeah, so the equipment, to get the equipment was pretty hard because they all pretty much booked out, aren't they?
Well, that was actually okay. We were very lucky in that we were the first distillery to use a company called LH Stainless. And they did the whole distillery. It was the first one where they'd done the whole thing, from milling all the way through to the stills. And they were fabulous to work with. It was at the point where 4 sites were completely booked out, but we were very lucky to meet LH at the right time in their development. So that bit was actually okay. Honestly, the worst bit was trying to do a complex building project here. Because it's so far, like, you forget one thing or one thing goes wrong, it's like 2 days to fix it. And everything stops for 2 days while they go get the thing to fix it.
Yeah, that's probably pretty hard because it's how far is Glasgow by truck?
Yeah, like 4 hours.
4 hours
at
truck,
least.
okay.
I mean, you can get to Fort William in 2 hours, but still, they might not have it. And even trying to get the biomass boiler down the very narrow road, it's massive. It's 2 containers, it's really heavy, and we had to get a crane also down the road that was big enough to lift the boiler off the truck. And
okay, yeah, that is amazing. I would have thought that the small pier down there is really not in use.
Not for that sort of manoeuvring. Definitely not.
Definitely not. Okay.
A few passenger boats, but that's, I think, the extent.
That's the end of it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's all the road.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll bring things in by sea, but infrastructure is not there yet.
Okay. So, but what I really love is I've already had the botanical spirit, and I love the story behind that you actually do kind of a gin with a malt spirit.
Exactly.
I do love that. Yeah.
Should we try it with some tonic?
Was that let's try it. So was that there before the organic, or which one was the first?
No, this was the first.
This was the first.
We, back in about 2012, we considered doing a gin. And I've actually got the original drawings, and then we scratched it out and thought, no, there's no point doing a gin, we have nothing to say about it. So there was no gin or this in the business plan, it was just 3 years and then we released the whiskey, was the plan. But because we put a lot of effort into our new make, because we want it to be super delicious, we started having people say, oh my goodness, your new make spirit is so delicious. Why don't you bottle it? And I thought, I didn't think there was a big market for just plain new make. But I'd been out foraging around here, and there was, there were lots of there's lots of amazing plants that grow. So we thought, well, why don't we try and put the Judy Cannon? Distill the new make with the botanicals. It ended up much closer to a gin than I'd originally envisaged, because we ended up adding juniper and coriander to make the whole thing balance. But legally, it is not a gin because it starts as new spirit.
Yeah, I think you're not distilling high enough for the gin, which I find really disappointing, because gin is then reduced to a product that is just industrial.
Yes. Yes, so, I agree. Whereas in reality, this is more of a kind of old style product that probably wouldn't have had a particular name, but
this is not a gin, as it's not industrial.
Exactly.
Okay. But in the end, it's not about what's written on the bottle; it's what's inside the glass.
Exactly. Exactly. And so you can use it like you would a gin. You can put it in a Negroni, you can put it with tonic, you can drink it on its own, it's delicious, and you can really, we've tried to create something that has the balance between the botanicals and the malt spirit.
Okay, one question for that, is it like harvested here, or how do you...
So we have 10 botanicals in there, 4 of which grow around here, most of which we harvest around here, and in particular the bog myrtle, which is this plant on the back, and it's also on the front, is the 3rd biggest botanical in there, and all of it is hand harvested around here by the team, because you cannot buy it.
Oh, okay.
But then the juniper and the coriander, we don't have really enough around here to be hand harvesting it.
So is that like, is Is it like keepable, or does it go off? Or
No.
you
The bog malt, we mean.
yeah. Do
Or
you
the
have to
spirit.
dry it then, or
We
do
dry it.
You dry it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Luckily, we have some very hot stills.
Ah, yeah.
Under which we can dry it. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
we just dry it under the stills.
Yeah.
And
Why not?
then we have about 4 months of the year when we can harvest it. We dry it enough for the next year's production, and off we go.
Okay. Nice. Okay.
So,
Yeah. Then, cheers.
cheers.
Ooh. Yeah, I like it that you have. It's much more round. When you have a gin, you really realize it's round because you have such a fine distillation. Here you have a bit of a maltiness to it, a bit of a. It reminds of whiskey, and then you're like, oh, that's
No, but
not
it's not.
whiskey. Yeah, it's not.
Exactly. We wanted both of those components to play an equal role. If you.
But I have to say, I tried this neat and in a gin tonic, or in a tonic,
Yeah.
and I did like it neat a lot, I would
Yeah.
say. I'm not quite sure. I don't say wasted because people have different tastes in it, but I think neat is really good.
I agree, and I think if you're used to drinking spirits neat, as most whiskey drinkers are, it's delicious on its own, or in a cocktail. I think what I like about it is that even if you don't drink whiskey, this is a really interesting sort of introduction to the category, because you can like gin, and it's an easy evolution from gin. So.
Yes, I've seen that many of our whiskey customers, they tend to go with the gin that the distillery has because it has more connection to it, and the distilleries know what the people actually do like.
Exactly.
I think that's connected to your spirit as well, to your whiskey.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a bit fun and it's different, and
yeah, I do like it. So it was there beforehand. So
it was there beforehand. Yeah, so we released it in I think late 2018.
2018. So 17 you opened, so 1 year
17
later.
we started distilling late 2018. That came out in 2020. Our first whiskey.
Yeah, it's not that long ago. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we had a good overview now. I'm really excited about what's coming next. I'm really hoping that you kick off because it's great stuff.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and thank you for having us here. It was a great pleasure to seeing everything, showing everything.
Thanks for coming. Thanks
Yeah.
for making the effort to come all this way. It's not exactly an easy journey. So.
Yeah, it's not, but it's a lovely journey. So you can visit the distillery.
You can. Yeah.
So, but you have to book something.
Just make sure you book in advance. Exactly.
So just
We
go on the
run-
website and
Go on the website. There's an online booking system. Off you go. Monday to Friday only, unfortunately.
have a look how you travel here.
Exactly. We need plenty of time.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that was it. Thank you very much for watching this video, and yeah, if you have any friends who might be interested in Knackaneen Distillery, then please feel free to share this video with your friends, and thank you, and see you next time.